We have a crazy class tonight. I literally was preparing this with tears in my eyes. Let's just say this. It's just so much easier to point outward and see how everything in my life, the reasons that things are not working out in my life, or that my life is not working, or that the things that I really, really want in my life are not in my life. And I can track it back. We all do this, especially women and men, okay? And men. We do that. We all do this. We track it back to the things that are the people that hurt us, or the experiences that we went through, or the lack of experiences that we had, or because our parents were too overprotective, not overprotective enough, cared too much, neglectful, and therefore I am the outcome, and my life is the outcome of all of these things that I went through. And it feels, oftentimes we feel very like it's not fair. We feel like it's not fair. Okay. And we all have our share of that. And we all have our bit of where I was hurt and where I was wronged and where life went south. And that's why I'm here. Okay. And that's why I'm here. But that's just like a little bit of an introduction. I really, as I was preparing this class, I got into this book. It's called Radical Forgiveness. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's incredible. It's incredible. Uh, and it's a whole different spin, like a whole different spin on life and on relationships and on what's really going on here. And it's like really in line, very much in line with Tomer Devorah, which is an age-old book. Tomer Devorah is a book that was written by the Rebbe of the Arizal. The Arizal is the one that brought down Kabbalah from the Zohar, from Rabbi Shimon, that no one understood what Rabbi Shimon wrote, and no one understood, like few and far in between got the Zohar and what was written over there. So the Arizal, the Arizal was the one that brought it down, like the mysticism to the world. Like, the thought, the concept of like thoughts create reality, and how your thoughts are manifestations. Your life is a manifestations of the way you think, of the way you feel. This amazing study was done recently where they took two people and they put them in two separate rooms, and each one was hooked up to a computer. Okay. And they told one person, two separate rooms, they told one person to think about the person in the other room. They gave them the name, and the person knew this person, and they said, we want you to think of this person. The person that was sitting in the other room that was hooked up to this computer, just had to think, then not to talk, just to think. Close your eyes and think about the person. Close his eyes, thought about the person in the other room, and all of a sudden on the screen that the person that was connected to, who was he thinking about? The person that was thinking about him. Because in actuality, and we all know this already, this is not news to us, that thoughts have energy. And it's almost like the person that you think about all of a sudden calls you, or all of a sudden you bump into, or all of a sudden you see them, or all of a sudden. So how does that happen? How does that happen? And there's Carol Young talks all about synchronicity, that everything is synchronized because we're all beings of energy. And so everything that we do, say, think, all has a electrical current to it. So and we impact each other all the time. It's almost like there's a ripple effect constantly happening, and especially on ourselves, right? But what tonight's class is about, which is, I think that this is the conversation of our life right now. Okay, this is the conversation of where we are as the Jewish people, in our own personal lives, in the communal reality that we're living in today as the Jewish nation. This is the conversation to be had. I think this is a very much of a Geula conversation, and this is the Geula talk already. This is like next level stuff. This is next level stuff. Um, and and I've been thinking about this for a very long time, because I've been myself very, very much in the world of healing, and very, very much in the world of therapy, and very much in the world of things that I've gone through in my life. The divorce that I've gone through, and the different things that I've gone through in my childhood. And I had a lot of baggage, a lot of things that I was carrying heavy on my shoulders for a long time. And I knew that the way to heal is to feel. Right. So that was my first step. Okay. So I got to feel. I have to stop running away from feeling. I have to stop throwing myself into all these different projects and ideas and work, or helping and fixing other people and all these things. And I have to really feel. I have to stop with the addictions to all these things in my life and actually feel my feelings. So that was step number one. And then this whole new reality came into my life that's called Tomer Devorah. And this, I feel like I want to stand on the mountaintops and just like scream into the world and say, everybody, if you want a better life, like if you really, really want a better life, like commit yourself to this book. Like dedicate yourself full on to this avoda, because you're not going to read it anywhere else. You're not going to see it anywhere else, and not in anywhere else in Torah is it mentioned the way it's mentioned in this book. It's like it's concepts that are life saving, life saving. And I want to just touch a little bit. And I want to give this to as many people as possible, and just share it with as much people as possible, because it's changed my relationships. It saved my relationships. It saved my relationships in every way. Like even with people that I never thought I was going to ever talk to again. Even the people that I knew were toxic for me and I wanted to stay away from, even them, even those relationships, where for a very long time I was listening to a lot of YouTube videos on narcissists and on codependence and how all of this jazz works, and all of that is true. It's all true. It's all real. There are narcissists in the world, and there are codependents in the world, and there are attachment styles in the world, and we all have different attachment styles based on the stuff that we went through as kids. Some of us are anxiously attached. Some of us are, some of us are what's the other one? That they take a step back. Like I'll leave you before you leave me. Everyone has their own attachment style based on how they grew up and based on how they saw the life around them, and they based on how they saw their parents' relationships and based on the stuff that they went through. And that's one level of relationships. Okay? Labeling relationships, understanding this person's toxic, this person's a codependent, this person's a narcissist, this person, and who I am and how I relate. And that's one level of seeing relationships. Okay? And what we're about to touch on today, just to get a little bit of our feet wet in this avoda and this work, is really next level stuff. It's like when you see life from this lens, first of all, you stop being so afraid of life. You stop being so afraid of people. You stop being so afraid of yourself, allowing people into your life. You stop being afraid of your heart breaking, perhaps, in relationships. You stop shielding yourself. You stop pushing away others. You stop running after others. You stop blaming. You stop all of that. All of that stops. It's freedom. It's freedom. It's freedom on the highest level. And let's just jump right in for a minute. All right. I want to start for a minute with looking at the current events that we're in. Okay, because it's not stam that it's happening this way, and it even says it in the Navi. It says in the Navi that before the end of days, what does the end of days means? Before this era that we're in shifts to a whole new era, and the whole new era that we're talking about, it says it that when Mashiach comes and the whole new era is gonna come into reality, it says that the lion and the sheep are gonna like hang out together. They're gonna just like vibe together. They're gonna chill, right? There's no like one eating the next. There's no survival of the fittest. There's no I'm gonna badmouth you to get a raise. There's no stepping on the little guy to move up in the ring. There's none of that. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like a peaceful reality where opposing forces get along, bad and good get along. It's gonna all jive together. It's just gonna be this like beautiful melody. That's the next era that we're about to go into. That's the geula that we're talking about. On many levels, it's just going to be, it says that people that are going to welcome Mashiach here in Eretz Yisrael are going to have wings. We're going to fly. We're going to fly. And it seems like, what are you talking about? How's it going to, because we're in such a different reality right now. Once we step over the threshold to that next era, we're going to get it. It's all going to make sense. It's all going to make sense. Why flying? How it's going to work? A lot of it, when you understand how your mind and how powerful your mind is, how powerful our minds are, and that we can really bend our reality by controlling our thoughts and putting the thoughts that we want to see into our life, putting them into our mind and entertaining them and massaging them into our life, we will, and all the most successful people in the world, Jew, non-Jew, it doesn't matter. If they've touched real success, they know this secret, because it's not a secret. I mean, the movie The Secret is all about this, right? And they get it from, where do they get it from? It's 3,300 years old Kabbalah and Torah. where the reason that we see things physically in the world is because someone originally thought of it, meaning thought originates everything. And when a person knows how to think, and when they understand how that works, how their mechanism works, they attract things, they push away different things, they bend their reality. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, you saw how Neo he has this interaction with this kid, and Neo is like trying to figure out like the Matrix. He's trying to figure out how this whole thing works. He's trying to figure out who he is, what he is, and he's really the Messiah. He's really Mashiach, and he doesn't know he doesn't know he is. And then he has this interaction with this kid, and this kid holds a spoon. He's holding this spoon, and and Neo like looks at him. It's an amazing clip. You should check it out on YouTube. It's the spoon clip on Matrix. And this kid is holding the spoon, and he looks at the spoon, and he looks at Neo, and then Neo looks at him, and he understands that he's about to do something. He understands that he's controlling something bigger than what he understands. And he looks at the spoon. This kid looks at the spoon, and all of a sudden, the spoon bends. Spoon bends, and he's like, "How'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that?" And the whole movie is based on this idea of learning how to bend your reality. And why are we saying this? Why am I saying this? Because that's what the Zohar is about. The Zohar is all about, it's all about understanding what's going on the back end of things. Like what you see in front of you on the computer, you open up your Facebook page, but when you go to the computer programming, it's just a bunch of letters and numbers and it's just a bunch of coding. Like how to get the coding, how to understand how to decode my life and program my life. There's a whole chachma to it. It's a real chachma. And if you learn this idea, I have my whole course on breakthrough is all about this idea of how to create your reality by the thoughts you think and the things that you say. And today science is so full of it that you literally see it. You see it in science. You see how it's under a microscope. You see how this works. So when we have Rabbi Shimon bringing this Zohar down into the world, no one understands this coding. No one gets this coding. No one understands all these letters and numbers. No one gets what it says over there. No one gets it. And the Arizal brings it down. He says, "Let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you." And then he writes the Kabbalah. Right? He writes Kabbalah in a way that everyone starts understanding that, hey, this is how to bend my reality. Oh, thoughts, words. When I say thank you for things that I don't want, then in essence what I'm doing is that I am accepting my reality. And when a person accepts their reality and doesn't reject their reality, they allow their reality to flow better as opposed to having our head to head with my reality. All these different codes that are happening behind the scenes. And when I learn Kabbalah, I get a picture of what's really happening and how to really manipulate the strings in my life to make it work for me and not to constantly butt heads with, if I want something, how do I get it? And if I am having trouble in my relationships, how do I really solve it? As opposed to labeling my relationships. Oh, there's another abuser. Oh, there's another narcissist. Oh, that's an anxious attachment, right? As opposed to just labeling. It's interesting to label. It's good to label. It's important to know what you're dealing with. But at the same time, I want to up my game. I want to have better relationships. I want to feel free. I don't want to feel guilt and shame and blame and anger and I can't forgive. And people go to the grave with this stuff. People go to the grave with this stuff. People can't forgive. People don't talk to their family members for 20 years. People hate their exes for as long as they can live and they make sure that their kids do the same and people are constantly in this emotional roller coaster. And then they listen to that next YouTube video or read that next Instagram article or meme, and then they're like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly how he is, and that's exactly how he is, and how she is, and I need to stay away from all these toxic people. So the Torah and Zohar and Kabbalah is coming to show us something like from a whole different angle. So I want to go back for a second, and I want to talk about for a minute what we're seeing in today's current event. Okay, let's talk about what we're seeing in today's current event. We're seeing a few things. We're seeing a bunch of Jewish people, and the Jewish people have always done this, contributing the most to the world. Okay, and the world knows this. The Jewish people contribute Who is leading in medicine? The Jews. Leading in technology? The Jews. Leading in finance? The Jews. Who's leading in Hollywood? The Jews. Who's leading in all that propel the world forward? The Jews. When there's a tsunami in Thailand, who's first on the scene? Israel. Hatzalah, Madda. Who's the ones that are coming up with the coolest, newest, most incredible inventions? Israel. Okay? And at the same time, Israel has the most, and they're talking about this on the news all over the world, that Israel has the most gentle army in a time of war, dropping leaflets on all the things and telling them to move because they're about to take down these buildings, they're about to bomb this area. We're in the middle of a war. And they have these conversations all over the news, and they're saying, how come when the Russians bomb Ukrainians, no one's sending leaflets? And civilians are dying left and right, and no one says a word. And so we have the most gentle army, and we contribute the most, and we help the world propel forward the most. And we're all goyim. We're a light unto the nations. We're the first ones on every scene in every way. And when the Twin Towers fell, Israel was the first ones there. And we want to help the world. We want to make the world a better place, said Michael Jackson. Heal the world, make it a better place. That's what we want to do, and that's what we have been doing. And we get back something that's so crazy. We get back a whole twisted reality, and we're all like scratching our heads, like how is it that every time we do something good, it's turned on us, and we're turned into liars, and we're turned into the ones that are trying to manipulate everything and trying to steal everything, and all these caricatures of the Jews like before the Holocaust. Why? How does that make sense? How is it that we get slaughtered on October 7th or during the Holocaust and all these people don't believe that it ever happened? And then we're blamed for that. It doesn't make sense. Okay? And I want to take you for a second to something that's going to sound a little bit crazy, but it literally is the same thing. Follow me here. It's not going to be a long class. I mean, we're going to do this in B'ezrat Hashem, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But if you get this concept, your life will change. Okay? Your thinking will change. And we have an issue with like hanging on and listening, because we're all like a bunch of our screens have created something that's called pizua nefesh. Kabbalah says that when we have too much stimulation in front of us and we're constantly shifting and moving to the next, scrolling is dangerous for the mind. It literally creates cracks in the brain, where if you have to sit down and focus on something now for like 15, 20, 25, a half hour, an hour, it's like, it's brain power. You have to fight something. It's almost like fighting yourself, right? Because the Zohar talks about how it creates something called pizura nefesh. It's a breakage of the nefesh. It's like split ends. So the more we read, let's say, meditate, hisbodedus, daven, the more we're able to sit down and do some breathing, even if it's 5 minutes worth or 2 minutes worth, it brings it back together. It allows the split ends to come back together. And then I'm able to focus for a little longer. That's just a side point. So I always like to keep my videos a little shorter than I'd like to, because there's so much information to give over that, like, when people have this information, their life can really get better. But we have to keep it short because we're all affected by this. I'm going to take you to a different concept for a minute, and we're going to tie it all together in the end, and you'll see how it all connects. How many of us are in relationships, and it's always the ones that we're closest to. Okay, it's always the ones that we're closest to. Our parents, our spouses, our kids, our besties, our next door neighbors, our bosses. Okay, the ones that we have the most connection to are the ones that hurt us the most. Hands down, period. It's like the guy in the makola, the guy in the store, like whatever, he tells you is mean to you, maybe it'll hurt you for like 30 seconds, and you're like, okay, next, whatever. Hopefully you're next, whatever. Because you don't, whatever. But if your mom, or if your sibling, or if your husband, your wife, they come at you and they tell you the same thing the guy in the store told you, it's like a full day event. And then you call this one and that one, and like thoughts of like divorce or like adoption or whatever, everything comes up. Okay, all this like volcano comes up, right? Or you start blaming yourself, right? There's like a blame. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should apologize. Maybe I should, why did he say that to me? How come I'm not appreciated? I did so much. Why don't they see me? I do for them. I buy for them. I shop for them. I kill myself for them. And how come they don't see me? Where am I in this whole picture? How it's like in our relationships, we often we try to speak, and then we yell, and then we manipulate, and then we nag, and then we shut down, and then we turn cold shoulder, and then we lose trust, and then we try again, right? And then there's all this stuff, and we demand, you listen to me, you sit right here, you lock the door behind you, and you're gonna listen to me, listen to me, right? We demand, and it doesn't work. So then we go to YouTube and we're like, okay, child that doesn't listen to parents, or we say husband that does this to wife, and then we try to find a label because our brain wants to make sense of this, and wants to give us some kind of strength. So one of two things happen. Someone hurts us that we're very, very close to, that we've opened our hearts to, that we care about deeply, that we have a deep, loving relationship with. One of two things happen. We either get angry, we can't forgive, and we eat ourselves up. How could they not see me? How could they not love me? How could they not do for me? I've done everything for them. I've given my heart to them. How could they be so selfish? How could he not think for a minute? He's in the store. This is a real example my friend gave me. She's like, literally, my husband's in the store. He's buying himself shampoo. He doesn't think to call me and be like, hey, hon, you want me to pick you up a bottle of shampoo for you? I know you like Tresemme. Like, I would 100% do that for him. I'm buying myself shampoo, soap. I would 100% text him or pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, can I get you? I would love to get you your favorite whatever is." Like, how does he not think of me? How does he not notice everything I do and want to do back? The people that we're in the most intense relationship with and most intimate relationships with are the ones that hurt us the most. Okay? Why? Because our hearts are deeply on the line over there. And so this whole shift, almost, it's almost like what's going on in the world, that we do so much and we care so much and we're there so much and we contribute so much, and the Jew done so much, and we're so prosperous, and wherever we go, whatever we touch turns to gold. Whatever land we live in, we prosper, and we contribute, and all these things. And they turn their ferocious, ugly face, the face of anti-Semitism. Every generation comes up again, and the blood libels and inquisitions, and we get pushed out of different countries, and our Beis Hamikdash gets burnt down, and our shuls get desecrated, and our Sefer Torah get burnt down, and they want to kill us and murder us in the streets, and free Palestine and everything that's going on. Like, what? And so look at the relationships that we're in. We're giving, we're doing. I gave birth to this kid. Like, I'm doing everything for him. I wake up in the middle of the night, I sit in emergency rooms, all these, and this is what I get back. What? Same thing. Same idea. And now it says Adam, Olam Katan, Ha'olam, Adam Gadol, which literally it means a man is a small version of the world, and the world is a big version of a man. Which means what goes on inside of me, all of this stuff that goes on inside of me, is literally projected, okay? And I see it in the world. And what goes on in the world, all this insanity that we're seeing in the world today, that they just want to kill us, and all these lies and all this stuff and all this anti-Semitism, is going on inside of man also. What I have in my relationships, in your home, in your bedroom, in your Dalit Amos, in your home, in your heart, what's going on in your heart and your home directly impacts what's going on in the world. And what's going on in the world directly impacts what's going on inside of you. But really, really, what's going on inside my home, what's going on inside my heart, the amount of walls that I have to put up around my heart, the fear that I carry so nobody will hurt me, all that stuff, all the trauma that I'm walking around with, all the don't hurt me, don't touch me, I'm going to get you back, hurt people, all of that, you're toxic, you're out of my life, I'm not talking to you, I'm excommunicating you, I can't forgive you, you've hurt me, you lied to me, you cheated me, all of that stuff that's going on in our personal life, in my home, in my life, in my heart, I have to know that it literally has a direct ripple effect on the world. It's not stam. It's not by accident. It's not coincidental. It's not coincidental that the Jewish people, okay, whenever the Jewish people are fighting and at it, look at the second temple era. We were so religious. We had beards down to the floor. We ate gefilte fish every Shabbos. We gave tzedakah. We wore skirts. We did the whole 9 yards. But in terms of like what was going on in interpersonal relationships, insane amount of lashon hara, insane amount of sinas chinam, hatred, pure hatred of one another. One person not forgiving the other, one person labeling the other, one person not inviting the other to their house because he did this and he did it. He did it. My kids spoke not nicely to me. My husband is not respectful, doesn't appreciate me, doesn't see me. My mother was so toxic that like literally I'm lucky to be alive. Not my mother. My mother, God bless her, thank God. But other people were. Many other people. Okay? So if I understand this formula, if I understand this equation, the equation is, and follow me here, that in order to fix what's going on in the world and really bring back our hostages, and that's a whole other deep conversation. Like if we understood Kabbalah behind what the whole concept of these hostages are, there's so much more beneath the surface that we don't really are not really we don't really understand. But when you learn Tomer Devorah, and when you learn the ins and outs of how relationships work, then all of a sudden you see life in a whole different way. But if I understand the equation, and the equation is that my home, my relationships, my heart has a direct impact and directly manifests everything that's going on in the world in and around the Jewish people, then what do I also understand? I understand that if I show up differently to my relationships, see my relationships differently, approach my relationships differently, and it's always going to be the people, like I said, the people that you're closest to, that you're going to have the most beef with, that are going to be the hardest, and to marriages are always the hardest. Kids, raising kids. If you don't have it difficult in your marriage, you have it difficult with raising your kids. If you don't have it difficult with raising your kids, you have it difficult with your parents. If you don't have it difficult with your parents, you have it difficult at work. The people that are in your day-to-day life are the ones that you're going to have the most stuff with. That's the dance. And if I don't learn how to dance this dance, I'm going to step on people's toes, and people are going to step on my toes forevermore till the day I die. And that's the truth. So it's either to learn this dance, and to get this dance, and it's supposed to say, you're a bad dancer. You suck at dancing. You know what? You don't stop stepping on my toes. What's wrong with you? Like literally, what's wrong with you? Why do you not stop stepping on my toes? Don't you see my toes? Don't you on my toes? Do you see them? Okay, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna try to get along again, and I'm gonna let you back again, and we're gonna do this again. But this time, don't do this step. Okay, this step bad. It's gonna step on my toes. Okay, and then he does it again. You're like, okay, either you need medication, we need to get divorced, you need to go live with another set of parents, or I need to excommunicate you. But like, I cannot do this dance with you anymore, because based on the information that we have, my friends, the information that we have in these psychology books, and there's a lot of truth to these things. There's a lot of truth. I'm not putting any of this down, but the Torah is so brilliant, and I promise you, I'm going to give you a drop tonight of literally learning how to dance is you, my friend. You're the dance. Everybody that was sent into your life, and ready for this, listen to this. Everyone that was sent into your life, whether it was for 5 minutes or whether it was for your entire lifetime or any section in between your lifetime, anyone, any soul that you have a dance with in this world, your kids, your parents, anyone, you have to know that before you came down into this world, you signed a contract with this soul. You signed a contract with this soul. And this soul that's giving you a hard time, this soul that's not getting you, that doesn't, clearly they don't love me because look, I don't know what's wrong with them. This soul that is giving you a hard time, if this soul that you're dancing with, okay, would just be nice, would just be kind, would just get it, would just want to help, would just say the right thing at the right time, would just then it would be so much better. It would just be so much better. But what's the rule of thumb? And we all know this. We all know this on such a cognitive level, but we keep fighting this. The rule until we surrender, and we have to surrender because this is the reality. The reality is that comfort, being comfortable in your life, never ever makes you move ever. Being comfortable in your life, when you're comfortable, you're human. Humans, when they're comfortable, they don't move. They don't move. This woman called me up today and she was like, talk to my daughter. You have to talk to my daughter. She's stuck in this place. It's like a terrible place for her. Terrible place for her. I'm not going to go into too many details. Terrible, terrible place for her. You need to get her out of there. You need to help me get her out of there. It's bad on so many levels. And she lists all the reason that her daughter should get out of this place. Literally terrible place that her daughter's in. And she's been there for a long time, for a bunch of years. And she's telling me all the things that are bad about this place. And I'm like, but your daughter's there. And she's like, yeah, she's there. So if she's there, that means she's comfortable with it. Because unless something serves you, you're not there. And on some level, if something is not serving you, you're not there anymore. Once there's nothing that serves you from this relationship, from this house, from this reality that you formed yourself, there's nothing that serves you there, you're going to make a change. You're going to make a change. When you're comfortable on any level, my friend, when you're comfortable on any level, comfort makes people stay. Comfort makes people not move. Why do we always talking about come out of your comfort zone? Come out of your comfort zone. The best stuff in life is on the other side of your comfort zone. The best stuff in life are all where when you have a little like when something like scares you a little bit. When something scares you a little bit, then you know, go for it, 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 go for it. Meet the stuff that scares you a little bit because it's always the stuff that you know how to do with while you're asleep. The stuff that you know how to do while you're asleep, like I know how to make coffee with my eyes closed. I do it so much. I know how to do it with my eyes closed. It's a no-brainer. But now give me a recipe that like I've never done before. I'm like with my phone, to figure out how to do this recipe. I'm like, oh wait, did I miss a step? 1 second, did I miss? Oh, I missed this. Oh shoots. Okay, I have to do this. Why? Because I'm not familiar with it. Once I move out of what I know, I expand. Once I move out of what I'm comfortable in, life changes. Hands down, end of story, end of story. Don't give me any stories. That's how it works. People stay in abusive relationships because there's something comfortable there for them. On some level, somewhere, something is maybe he's giving them or she's giving the situation. They're dependent, they have money, they have a home, they have something on some level. There's comfort there. Comfort is an anchor. Comfort is an anchor. So this is the next part that I want to tell you, and this is like the clincher. Ready for the clincher? Are y'all ready for the clincher? All your cameras are off. You know that? All of you people's cameras are off. Okay, fine, whatever. It's nice talking to a black screen. Okay, it'll make you feel bad. Thank you, humans. So nice.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I
when
don't
you're
want
on
you
this
to
side,
camera.
everything is black. It's just like little tiny names like Jacqueline, Kaya, Shlomi, Lily. Okay, hi. Okay. Hold on 1 second, go back here. Oh, Shani. So, Emily. Hi, guys. Okay, here's the clincher. Okay, I'm not going to make it too long, super short. Okay. The clincher is Pain. Nobody likes to hear this. We all hate to hear this. We all hate to hear this. Okay. Pain. Listen, I'm just gonna say it fast. Pain makes us move. You know the famous quote, the quote of um, when the pain when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, that's when you change. Like change is painful, but staying the same is like so painful already. Like I can't stay in this situation already. I can't stay in this job anymore. I can't. 20 years, I can't do it anymore. I can't live another day. Okay. When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, that's when it's done. Okay? Because pain makes people move. Comfort makes people stay. Anchor, just think anchor. Pain makes people move. When these people in your life signed this soul contract with you before you came into this world, you know what they did? You're like, be understanding, be loving, be kind, be the man I married, be the one I want to build a relationship with, be that mom that's so nurturing, that cares, be that mom that calls me, be that child that comes to visit me, be that all these things. What we're wanting is comfort and connection, and we want all the things to be nice and just packaged just so. And know what happens before we come into this world? This soul that's making your life a living hell on many levels, this soul signed this contract with you and said, I am going to make you so uncomfortable. And it's not fun to be this soul that makes you uncomfortable, but I'm going to make you so uncomfortable on so many levels that what that's going to do to you, it's going to force you to go into different parts of your soul, of yourself, of your life. And you're going to say, I have to find a way out. I have to find a way better. I have to go to this therapist and that course and come to this Zoom and figure out how to change things. And I have to go on a run and I have to breathe and I have to meditate and I have to go to this rabbi and I have to dig and I have to go and I have to find and I have to find it. I have to figure it out. I need answers. I need to move. I need to get it. I need to get a better picture. Because if your husband was just perfect to you and your kids were just perfect to you and parnasa money just came flowing in and everything was just flowing in, guess what, my friend? You would not go anywhere. You would be a lump of clay. And we came into this world a lump of clay, and God says, Yofi, get this lump of clay that's you, and I don't want you to make a mensch out of it. I want you to make a person out of this thing. And the way to make a person out of this thing is to go through painful situations. When we get up in the morning and we put on our sneakers and we go for a run, as opposed to going to the spa is much nicer. Hello, it's so much nicer. She's massaging my shoulders. I'm getting my nails done. It's good music. I'm sipping wine. It's nice. It's nice. That's nice. But where do you get results from? You get results from waking up in the morning and going on a jog and coming back home and opening up your siddur or your notebook and sitting there with yourself and thinking and writing gratitude lists and praying to God and talking to God and having hard conversations and going to work. And where do you become you? You become you from the effort and the stuff that you put into your life, and the people that you came into that are the closest to you in your most inner circles are the ones that are going to make you work the hardest. So you could shut them out. You could shut them out. You could carpet bomb all of them. Okay? How about that? Let's carpet bomb all the people that make it hard for us in our life. We could just say, I'm not talking to her for 20 years. I'm locking her out. He's next. She's an ex. That person's no good. That person. I could say all these things about everyone. But if it doesn't go with her, God's just gonna make the same story come from a different door. Because Hashem, He believes in you more than you know possible what you have inside of you. The challenges, the run in the morning that you don't want to do, when you get back from it, you're in a different state. You're in a different state of mind. You're in a different state of body. You're in a different state. That prayer that you don't feel like doing because, I just want to sit on this couch and scroll, because we're wired for pleasure. We're not wired for pain. So when these people get all up in our faces and say, Jew, Jid, Yid, you're a liar. You're evil. You've come to this world to destroy the world. You manipulate the world. What happens to the Jewish people when October 7th happens? What happens to the Jewish people when all this anti-Semitism is growing by leaps and bounds in the world? We congeal, we unite, we come out with our strongest voices. We find our Jewish brothers and sisters that we didn't even know were Jewish, all of a sudden saying, "Hi, I'm a Jew, and I'm proud. I'm going to wear my Chai necklace, and I'm going to wear my Magen David, and I'm going to go to shul, and I'm going to go to a class, and I'm going to go to a Jewish demonstration." And all of a sudden, all the Jews come out of the woodworks, and all of a sudden, we all come together, and our differences don't make a difference. Religious, not religious, reform, conservative, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. We're all of a sudden on the same team. When October 7th happened, I don't know how many of you are in Israel, but I am, and I know around the world it was also insane what was going on. The amount, the outpouring of love was like I would walk down the street and just cry all day. Cry, cry. Who are these people? Who are these people? Who are you? These are your children? This is who are these people? Seriously, this is the Jewish people? Oh my gosh. What are the people? What a face, what a beauty, what a neshama, what a nation. What who are these people? Who are these people? I have chills. Who are these people? The other day I had a friend that called me. She went through a really bad divorce recently, and her husband took everything. And no one knows. She lived a very, very high lifestyle. No one knows what kind of stuff she's going through. I didn't know. I had no idea. She called me and she said, "Devorah, I don't have food in my fridge. My kids have no food. We have no food. I don't have milk in my fridge. Nothing. I have nothing." She hasn't paid her electricity bill for a year. And now since the war in Israel, the electric company is not turning off anyone's electricity. Okay, that's part of it because all the husbands are in soldiers in the war. And she told me all this stuff, and she said it's my son's birthday today, and I don't have money for a cake. Like I don't have anything to give him. I put out one little dinky message on a community group here in Beit Shemesh. One little message. A friend of mine said her fridge is empty. Her son's birthday is today. If we can maybe get together some a little bit of money for some food and for a birthday cake or some balloons, it would be amazing. Okay. For the next 4 hours, ladies, I'm not exaggerating. For the next 4 hours straight, I'm like this on my phone. Like this on my phone. Everything, anything possible. One woman made her son a three-layered cake in the shape of a soccer ball. Another woman made her son all these pekalach to bring into school to celebrate his birthday in school. 3,000 shekels were gathered just to buy her food. Another woman went to the supermarket. She bought her 2,000 shekels worth of groceries. Another woman donated tons of money to this specific supermarket to give to her. Another family asked me to pay for all her electricity bills for the entire year. They paid her entire bill for a year off. Okay? That's just the beginning of it. I cannot even tell you what went on here. I was in my room. I didn't eat. I didn't drink for hours, just answering everybody. The influx. And it's not like it's like the only story. How many stories do we hear of people that need charity? How many weddings? How many things? How many people are poor? To every single one, the outpouring of the Jewish people, the heart of the Jewish nation is crazy, crazy, amazing, insane. And yet, we're going to take questions at the end. And yet, before October 7th, before there was all this stuff, there was always pain and suffering on smaller levels. Before we got hit really, really bad, before it was really, really bad, it was really, really bad. Why was it really, really bad? Because there wasn't that congealing. There wasn't that connection. There wasn't that we're all on the same team. We're all the Jewish people. We're all on the same team. We're all fighting for the same cause. You would need something, I'm there for you. You want my apartment? Take my apartment. Take my car. Take my stuff. Everyone's just giving away their stuff, their money, their care, their health, their everything. Take it. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Soldiers, food. Just take. What do you need? Equipment. We're here. We're all together. Before that, it was everyone to themselves. Somewhat, because we've had somewhat of quiet since the Holocaust. Somewhat of a quiet since the Holocaust. There's always been stuff. But the truth is, and the formula is like this, my friends. The people that have come into your life, and even the Arabs, and even the biggest enemies of the Jewish people, That's why it says when the Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim and they crossed the sea and they saw all the Egyptians drowning in the sea, all the people that drowned their babies. The people that are drowning in the sea now are the people that took the Jewish babies and put them in the walls, took the Jewish babies, 600 babies a day. Paro would bathe in because he wanted to bathe in blood, Jewish blood, because he had leprosy and he had all these things on his skin and he wanted to. So they chopped up 600 Jewish babies in the morning and the evening every single day so they could fill up a pool for him of blood and he would sit in this blood. And as they're leaving the Exodus and they're crossing the sea and they're coming out of the sea and they see all the abusers and all these Rishaim drowning in the sea, what does Hashem say to them? Al tismach. Don't be happy when you see your enemies fall. Don't be happy. What? Don't be happy? When my kids heard that the president of Iran was crashed and died, they started dancing. And I was like, guys, we're not allowed to be happy. We're not allowed to be happy. What? How can we not be happy? We could say Baruch Hashem. Hashem does everything for the best. Hashem is Moshiach, the Jewish people. But we can't sing and dance. Why? Why can't we sing and dance? God, why? Because everyone and anyone, being government officials, being Rishaim, being the Arabs, being the Nazis, being the people in our life that have hurt us, our abusers, being the people in our life that we have issues with and beef with and arguments with, and they don't see me and they don't feel me and they don't appreciate me. From the big to the small, on all levels, all of us have made soul contracts with. And all of these people and all of these things have all come for a cause and a reason. And they've all, somehow, they move us, they maneuver us into action. And when we get hurt and we get abused, and we get something happens to us, I'm not telling you to stay in an abusive situation or stay inside of a toxic reality. No. It's not a mitzvah to stay in a bad relationship or to stay in a toxic relationship. But if it's already happened, and if it's happening in not toxic, not abusive, but in normal day-to-day life situations, marriages, kids, things like that, we have to know we've had soul contracts with them, and they are here to move us, to maneuver us, to motivate us, because that's what happens, because pain moves us, and comfort and niceness and getting a pedicure and manicure and having my head massaged, that's nice, but that doesn't move me. That doesn't move me on a physical level. That doesn't move me on an emotional level. That's nice. It's good to pamper yourself sometimes. It's healthy. It's good to take breaks. We have Shabbos because we're supposed to chill one day a week. We're supposed to disconnect and just be. Just be and not do. Just be and not be a human doing, but be a human being. Yes, we need to recharge. But the rest of the week, we need to work. God worked for 6 days. We need to work. The name of the game here is work. Your marriage is work. Your kids is work. And if you think for a second that they're here to make it all nicey for you, my friends, they're not. They're not. They're here to bring out the best in you, the juice in you. And I promise you that if you wouldn't have stuff going on in your life, you would not be on this webinar. You would not be here trying to transfer, or whatever it's called, this webinar, to transform stress and suffering into strength. You wouldn't be. And that's what happens. When we have stress, when we have suffering, when we have pain, it makes us want to transform. It makes us want to transform. And when we transform, we turn strong. When we go through pain, we congeal and we become the Jewish people. And we become a force. And we don't run away from our identity anymore. We wear it with pride. Because that's what happens. That's the result. And I just want to say here, and I want to end off with something. The whole essence of all the relationships that we have in our life is everything. You are your relationships. The quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. You can go your entire life trying to shut everyone out and live by yourself. And it's also scientifically, medically proven that people in the best health okay, that live alone and that have no connections and don't talk to anyone and don't get hugs from anyone and don't have human interaction on a daily basis, they die much earlier, much earlier. Their heart fails a lot earlier. It's something like in their 50s. Babies, we all know this, that the studies that was done with babies, that they came into the world and they put them in incubators and they gave them everything. They give them food, they give them drink, they shared, they did all of that. They did all of what the baby needs in order to grow. All the babies died. Why? Because the babies weren't being held and weren't being cradled and no one touched them. We need human interaction. We need these human relationships. I could shut people out and I could disconnect from the world, but the reality is as a human being, I need this stuff. I need the good, the bad, the ugly. I need the rawness of what happens in my relationships. I need all of it. I need the good days. I need the hard days. I need the days that they don't see me. I need the days that they don't appreciate me. I need all of it. Why do I need all of it? Because that's what makes me me in the end. That's what makes me go through all that stuff to find me in the end. And that's what Hashem wants. In order to really know how to do this relationship thing, in order to really know how to show up in your relationship, because really you could talk about it the way we've been talking about it, and it's a really good message. Good message. Really solid message, important message. We all get this message. We all know that this is true. You all know that when you let your kids figure it out, and they're like, but mommy, I'm bored. Give me more time on the screen. But it's not, but I have nothing to do, but I'm bored. Somehow, when you give them no time on the screen and all of a sudden they're bored, all of a sudden they find what to do. All of a sudden they get creative. All of a sudden they find a bike and they find a scooter and they find a pencil and they find a crayon and they do other things, or they find each other and they kill each other or whatever it is, but they figure something out. And before when they were on the screens, they could not think of a thing to do before, because when people are in pleasure, they're not creative. They can't get the creativity, the juices flowing when it's comfortable. Something happens to us when we're uncomfortable. The people in our lives that make us uncomfortable are there for a very important reason. And shutting them out is an option. But learning how to dance with them is everything. And I invite you to learn these 13 dance steps called Tomer Devorah. Tomer Devorah is 13 dance steps. Every week, we're going to learn another dance step. And each one is more wow, jaw-dropping than the other. Every week, we're going to learn how to dance in our relationships in a way that's going to work. That's going to work. That's not going to leave us feeling empty, alone in this relationship. It's a whole different angle. It's a whole different way of coming at it, but it's the real way to dance, because you know what? If I don't learn how to dance, they're going to keep stepping on my toes. And I can't teach other people to dance. I can only teach myself to dance. Only myself. It says that Tomer Devorah is a segula against illness and cancer. And the reason that it's a segula against illness and cancer is because what illness is literally, and what cancer is when the cells themselves in the person's body deform. There are a bunch of deformed cells that enough of those cells that are deformed come together to create an illness, a disease. What's a disease? A dis-ease. There is a dis-ease in the person's life, in the person's nefesh. And if a person in their nefesh is hurting and blaming and shaming themselves and other people, and they can't forgive, and they hold on to grudges, and they hold on to pain, and they hold on to this victim mentality, or they hold on. It's true. It's all true. You've gone through all of that. It's true. You were abused. It's true. You're not seen. It's true. It's not fair. It's true. But as long as I'm holding on to all this stuff, I create disease in my body. And when I learn Tomer Devorah, and that's why it's a segula for anti-disease. When I learn how to dance, I learn how to let go of all these negative emotions and baggage and blame and hurt that I'm carrying in my heart, and anger that I'm carrying in my heart. We're going to learn about forgiveness, how to do it. We're going to learn about how to be more resilient and strong. We're going to learn how to come at a relationship from a way where even if they're not seeing you, how to show up in a way where you're not desperate to be seen, and then you will be seen. We're going to learn so much, all from Kabbalah. It's a different language. It's nothing like you've ever learned before. We're starting, God willing, next week, Tuesday, on Zoom. If you're in Israel and if you want to come, I'm doing an in-person one on Sunday. We're starting. I want to invite you. I've made it so affordable, and I can make payment plans because I want everyone in the world to learn these steps. It's 13 steps. It's a 15-week course because we're going to have one day that it's going to be more of an intro, and the last day that it's going to be we're going to wrap it up, and the 13 classes in the middle. It's a huge undertaking for me. I have pushed it off for like a year not to do it because it's once I go into this with women and we do it as a group, it's major. It's like the work of life. It's everything. It's everything. And literally, Hashem cares about your relationships more than He cares about your relationship with Him. And I could say that hands down as a very religious woman. I'm telling you right now that you could be very, very religious and very frum and keeping the whole Torah kula. But if your relationships are down in the dumps, girlfriend, Hashem cares more about the relationships that are malfunctioning than about all of your religious stuff that you're doing. Way more, way more. Because that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. That's why I'm just going to end with this. The first Beis Hamikdash, they didn't keep the Torah. They did 3 cardinal sins. Okay, 3 cardinal sins they did, but no one ever spoke a word bad about the other person. No one ever badmouthed. No one ever gossiped. No one ever judged. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. 70 years later, it was rebuilt. The second Beis Hamikdash, the second temple, they were so religious. They kept the entire Torah. They looked religious. They did all of the religious stuff. They did all the mitzvahs in the Torah. They learned the Torah, all of it. But between one another, awful, terrible. 2,000 years we're in Gullus, and the temple has still not been rebuilt. Because this is what Hashem cares about. 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, Sefer Omer. The reason that we had this whole mourning period, that we couldn't get married, that we couldn't get haircuts, is because 24,000 giants of Torah, learned so much Torah, so religious, so religious, did all the dikdukim, all the mitzvahs, covered their hair down to here, okay? And they hated one another. All of them disappeared. They were all wiped out. All their Torah was gone. Nothing was left of them. Hashem wants our togetherness. Hashem wants our unity. And that, my friends, when we get that, when we have that going on, when we learn how to do that, when we really learn how to do that, learn how to dance this dance already after 2,000 years of stepping on each other's toes. If we learn how to do this dance in our personal life, we will create a ripple effect on the entire world and all of the Jewish people in the world. And there will be no anti-Semitism, and there will be no hatred toward the Jewish people, because what we see outside of us, the cancer that is growing all around us, is because there's a cancer growing inside of us, in our homes, in our hearts, in our relationships, in everything, in our bedrooms. That's where it's happening. That's where it's happening. The non-Jew cannot touch the Jewish people. The Jewish people are Kadosh Kadashim. We are pure. We are beautiful. We are the most beautiful people ever. We are so beautiful, and how much we love, and how much we care, and how connected we are. They cannot touch us if it's not coming from inside of us. If the fighting and the bickering and the hatred in our homes, under our roofs, are not happening. And when we learn to do this dance, then we will bring the Geula. When you do this work inside of your home, you are bringing the redemption. You are making one less non-Jew point a finger and say, Jid, Jew, it's all your fault. One less of them, instead of doing hasbara and trying to go out into the world and trying to tell them, no, look, we're so good, we're trying to be so good. Why do you hate us? Why do you hate us? Stop it. We have to stop all of that. That's wrong. That's looking outside and trying to make it better inside. It's not going to work. Anti-Semitism doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because the only reason that they're attacking us and have always attacked us throughout history is because when things got messy inside here, things got messy outside here. We are manifesting these pro-Palestinians. We are manifesting all this free Palestine stuff. We are manifesting this cancer that we see outside of us. And the only way to change it is each one of us to learn how to dance in our relationships. To learn the dance in our relationships. And that's everything. You want to bring Mashiach? Figure out how to talk to your mom. Figure out how to talk to your husband. Figure out how to talk to yourself. When we see a Jew getting beat up on the streets of Europe somewhere, I gotta start making amends with myself in this marriage. And how do I do it? You can go to therapy for the next 30 years of your life, and I'm a big therapy person. But learn these steps of Tomer Devorah, and you will see how things will suddenly shift for you. Because again, and I'm just going to end with this. I know I said that a few times, but I'm passionate about this subject. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to end really, really with this. Cancer goes away. There's a book that says there's a book written by Dr. Gabor Mate, and the 5th chapter of the book talks about cancer, and it's called the cancer personality. And they've done an extensive research that the people that are prone to get cancer are the people, listen to this, are the people that are people pleasers. People pleasers, the ones that push all their pain down. They don't want to deal with their pain and they just smile their way through and they just can't say no to anyone. They are the most prone to get cancer. How does that work? And he speaks all about it in this book. The book is called When the Body Says No. That's the title of the book. And he speaks all about all the different diseases in the world and how each disease comes from a different dis-ease in the nefesh, in the way the person thinks, in the way the person interacts, in the way the person acts in their life. There's a dis-ease there, and it comes out in the body. So why is Sefer Tomer Devorah Segula against cancer? It's a segula against cancer because the cancer is only there, and the malfunctioning of the cells is only there, and the deformity of the cells is only there because there's all this stuff in the nefesh that the person not looking at, in their own nefesh. Instead of shutting everyone out, and instead of being afraid of relationships and being afraid of being hurt and guarding your heart and blaming and shaming, let's do the real work. Let's do the real work. So I invite you. We're starting next week. Naomi put the link somewhere around this video. I hope you all join. If money is an issue for you, get in touch with us, okay? Because what's most important here is to do this work. I can't do it for free. No one can join for free, but because there has to be an exchange of energy. The price is the price. We can make payments, but this course is usually 4 times the price, and I've made it so cheap because of the situation that we're in. And because of what's going on, and because this message has to go far, far and wide. So I urge everyone to join me, and I'm really looking forward. And if you have any questions, ask away. And B'Z'H Hashem, the Jewish people are at the cusp. We're at the cusp of a new era, and it's all going to get really, really bad before it gets really, really good. And it's already gotten really, really bad, but it's about to get really, really good. And we are really, really good. Baruch Hashem, holy sisters.